CLI, and you want to focus on configuring remote access VPNs. I'll get to that in a minute. Let's go ahead and kind of do number 9, which is an ACL for firewall 1. Now remember about the NAT. What did I say about the NAT tonight, guys? Yeah, basically you're going to deal with the local IPs, not the public IPs. Alright? I throw that in there on purpose to make you think. Alright? So, we need to allow SMTP and POP3 to the mail server. Okie dokie. So, let's go into the ASA, go to the command line. Alright? And let's take a look at what we have so far. So right now we don't have any ACLs. We have objects. We've done our NAT. Alright. Have I done a NAT for the mail server? Yeah, I did. There we go. So my mail server is 192.168.0.21. Okay? Everybody with me? Alright, and it's translated to 134.68.0.21. Now that happens first, right? So we're going to filter on the private IP addresses. Like I said, it's opposite of what you were used to in doing ACLs and routers, because NAT happens first. Alright, so go into global configuration mode. And then we're going to write our access list. Access list, and you're using named access lists, no numbers. So with this, what I like to do is I like to name the ACL from what interface I'm coming from to what interface I'm going to. That's a standard practice that you see engineers use across all firewalls, regardless of manufacturer. They name the ACL, what is the traffic coming in on, where is it exiting. So I like to do access dash list outside. I'm sorry. All right, if I can type tonight, outside dash, and I can put 2 here. Again, this is completely unique. DMZ. I can just put outside dash DMZ as long as I know where it's coming from going to. Okay, or I can get really granular and say, okay, outside to DMZ. Okay? Everybody with me so far? Understand why I did that? Okay? So that is my access list name. Okay? I have to tell it whether it's extended or if I'm doing a permit or deny. Should actually automatically be extended. Yeah. So it's extended. I'm going to permit. Now, remember, allow SMT and POP3 to the mail server. From where? Anywhere, right? Okay. Now, you can get a little tricky here if you want. You can get a little tricky here. Now, I could write 2 entries, or what could I write instead since I have 2 protocols that I'm using for one server? Who remembers this from Monday? Who was still awake with me when we talked about these things on Monday? What we talked about on Monday, guys? Objects, right? Network objects, network object groups. What else? What's the other type of object? Network object, and you guys are going to have a hard time on the test. Service objects, right? Service object groups. We create a service object group and put POP3 and SMTP in that service object group. Okay? Everybody with me? So let's do that. All right. So before I create my access list, object, oh, you're not going to let me do the service object? You suck. Packet tracer. Oh, object group service. Here we go. Okay. And I'm going to create this service group and name it mail. That's what I'm working with, right? Everybody with me? Now, POP3 and SMTP use what as a protocol? TCP. TCP. Good. Okay. All right. Now, if I look at my running configuration, where are you at, service object here? Where are you at, service object here? Am I missing this here? This is packet tracer not working. There it is. I just didn't put anything in. So once I do that, I can then give it a description. Say mail services. All right. And then my port object. So EQ and then port object for SMTP is 25, right? Port object, EQ. POP3 is what?
110.
There you go. Good job. Now, let's see if that took it as a group. There it is. See that? Everybody with me? So now if I go and I set up a access list, name it my first entry, I'm going to go ahead and create my protocol equal to mail instead of EQ25 or 110 as such. So let me go back and create that access list. Alright, outside to inside, extended, permit, okay, TCP, any, okay, host. So what's my host going to be? I made a network object for the mail server, right? Anybody remember that? Object network mail. This is why you guys have to have, because firewalls are working this way as an object-oriented configuration basis. You have to have a really firm grasp on object-oriented scripting and object-oriented programming. Okay? So things like C++, C#, Python, scripting languages like Ajax, You guys work on the web side of things. Really, really, really good to learn. This'll help you with it, or that'll help you with this. Mail. Oh, you're not gonna give me a destination? Packet tracer, you suck. I'm missing something here. This is not working the way it's supposed to. This is not working the way it's supposed to. Why are you not working the way you're supposed to? Missed something here. Access list outside the inside extended permit. Object. Mail. And then you're supposed to put the object group there. It's not, so. So I did this a couple different ways, and any way to do this is just fine. Okay, because these are actually equal to one another because of the IP address and the object. It's letting me to do the object group for source instead of destination, which doesn't make any sense. Kind of weird. All right. So that's for the mail, and both of those sets are equal to one another. So you don't have to do the service group because it's not taking it. Let's look at the next one, the ACL. So you get another one. BlackBerry services. We're gonna skip that. I'll let you do B. Allow www and secure HTTP from the internet to your web server. All right, you actually have the web server in there. So the web server is named web, all right? So I can go back into the access list here, and all I did was up arrow. So from here, it's the same command. I'm just gonna change the object from mail to web, and the port, instead of it equaling 25 or 110, what's web services? What TCP port is that? 80. All right, enter. Up arrow. Guess what you have to do change this from web services to secure web services? 443. See how easy that was? Bada bing, bada bang. Questions on that? Once you have your network object, you just got to remember your network object name. Alright? There's another one here. Here's a good one. E, last one. You guys are gonna have to do B and D. I'm just in a generous mood today. Allow DNS zone transfers from 4.2.2.2 to your DNS server. Okay. Oops. So what is my DNS server IP? I haven't even made a network object for that yet, have I? Alright, let's play. So, no, I have not. I have not made a network object or a NAT for my DNS server. So, need your help, guys. Object, network. I'm going to name it DNS, all capitalized. Single IP, right, a host. What's the DNS IP address, DNS server IP address? 192.168. What? Help me out here. It's on your lab. Look at your lab. 0. What?
53.
Huh?
53.
53? Wow, that was easy. Alright. And it's natted to 134.68.0.53?
123.53.
123.53? Thank you. Perfect. Oh, I need the whole DMZ, comma, outside. Static. I think that's how it's done, right? There we go. That did the NAT. And now I just go back into that ACL and I can just, I went too many commands so I can't get all the way up there. That's fine. Run real quick. Access list. There you do it now. Yep. So there's my outside to inside, and actually I goofed up on that name. I should have made it outside to DMZ. So ignore what that says. This is not outside to inside. It should be outside to DMZ. I was working on a firewall today that was outside to inside. My fault. It's superfluous stuff. So here, I'm going to change my object from web to what? What's DNS? Good job. Now, zone transfers work with what protocol? TCP. So I'm still good, right? Right? Everybody agree with that? Okay, so I don't have to change my protocol. I'm not using UDP. I'm not doing lookups. I'm only doing zone transfers. So I'm good there. And then my port is equal to what for DNS?
53.
53. I'm not trying to make this hard, guys. Really, I'm not. Okay? 53. Okay. There's your ACL so far. Again, I goofed on the naming. I should have named this outside to DMZ instead of outside to inside. I apologize for that. But you kind of see how we're doing this with objects. You can do it with IP addresses. Guess what? If you do it with IP addresses instead, it's still going to be right because it'll still work. And I'm not going to take points off if it works. That would be ridiculous of me. Right? So either way you do it, you're fine. Questions on ACLs? Let's just take a real quick look at number 10. On number 10, you're going to create an access list on firewall 1 to allow servers on the DMZ to access the AD server. So this is going to be a separate ACL, and then you're going to have to apply it differently. So that's one thing I didn't do on number 9. I did not apply my ACL. Wow, I would have lost points on that. So I've created this ACL called outside to inside. I need to do the access group command, right? The access group points at what? The name of my ACL, right? Which in this case I named it outside to inside instead of outside to DMZ. Now what do? I have to tell it what interface I'm applying it to, right? Notice I'm not in the interface because I don't have to be. The access group command is done in global configuration mode instead of interface configuration mode on the ASA. So, what's next? Anybody? Okay. If you don't know, what are you supposed to do?
Question mark.
I'll take it. So is this going to be traffic coming into an interface or traffic leaving an interface? In. Okay, I'll buy that. Do the question mark again?
Yes.
Well, only one thing we can type, interface, right? So we have to tell it what interface it's coming into. What interface would this traffic be coming into?
Outside.
Outside. Very good. That's it. So when you do the one for question number, is it 10? It'll be access group, whatever you name that ACL, DMZ to inside, for example. In interface, DMZ. Everybody straight on that? Understand what I did? At least wrote it down, recorded it, something. Typed it in as I was doing it. Okay. All right, now the hard part. Ugh. Now the hard part. And I hope this works, because if it doesn't, I get to throw number 12 out, and you get 7 free points. Hey! I could come up with lab 4 real quick. Go. Lock it up. God, I sound so much like a dad, don't I? Terrible. Terrible. All right. So when you follow that link in Lab 3, here, it takes you to this website in Cisco, under cisco.com. So I want you to concentrate on examples for remote access IPsec VPNs and configuring remote access IPsec VPNs. So let's start there. There's a lot of different things that you have to do. You have to, now some of them you've already done. You've already configured your interfaces. You did that previously, right? Okay, skip that step. You've named your interfaces. You give them IP addresses. Right? You've turned them on. So step 1, 2, and 3, pretty much done. Now, you need to set up a ICE account policy and enable it on the outside interface. So, this is not hard. What am I going to do? Trying to get myself situated. Going to global config mode. Crypto. Ike V1 policy, and then I named a policy. All right, looks like I give it a, I give it a priority. So let's give this priority 1. All right. Okay, I have to tell it what authentication I'm going to use. All right, so what I want to do here is, since I'm setting up a symmetric cryptographic remote access VPN using Internet Key Exchange version 1, if I'm using symmetric cryptography, what type of key am I using? Pre-shared, very good. So, authentication, pre-shared. All right, it's right there, guys. I'm not trying to throw you a curveball. Seriously, I'm not trying to throw you a curveball. All right, I'm throwing you softballs here. So, then under crypto IKV1, still under that policy, so I don't have to go back into it. I just have to tell it what hash I'm going to use. And I have either MD5 or SHA. Which one's stronger? SHA. Next, under my IKV1 policy, I've got to set my Diffie-Hellman group. Okay, for my key negotiation via that hash I just set. You guys see how this is trying to link together? We've been building little blocks on this for the last 2 weeks. I hope you start seeing how the dots are connecting. Okay, you've been paying attention in class and through lecture, going through all that crypto stuff, the IPsec stack, and now guess what? We're actually putting it into and incorporating it into a VPN. So the next thing I want to set is my Diffie-Hellman group. All right, group. Looky there, step number 4. What group do I always tell you to use?
2.
I'm validated. All right. I can set the lifetime. So a lifetime of 43,200 seconds is basically 12 hours. That's fine. You can set it for 86,400 a full day. You can set it for 60 seconds. I would never set it for 60 seconds. Just asking you for your VPN to fail. All right. Set for something between 12 hours and 24 hours. You'll get it right. So I'm gonna go ahead and set it for 86,400, which is a full day. All right. Then I can exit out of that. And this is a great time to write memory. All right. So that basically set up my crypto for my VPN. What I have to do next is, once somebody hits the VPN, after they authenticate, the next thing that has to happen is they need to get an IP address on the network, right? And we have to understand where they're going to land on the network. So assume this is for remote access users and they need access to internal resources, so they need to land on the inside network. Everybody with me? Now, what did we set as our DHCP pool? Everybody remember when we set DHCP? Well, let's go back to the config. Okay. Wow, we're going from 11 to 253. Yikes. Yikes. So, a couple different options here. We can set up a local pool. Or we can use the same pool here. Actually, not gonna let me do it. All right. Let's assume that it will get an IP address from the DHCPD access. It's not gonna let you do it otherwise. We need to add a user. All right. So you can add any user there from Lab 1, or did we already add a user previously? I think we have one, right? Yeah, administrator. So we've already added a user. Don't have to worry about that. Now we have to create our IKV1 transform set or IKV2 proposal. I'm doing just a basic IKE version 1 transform set. They're really easy to set up. They're fast. They perform very well. IKE version 2 is good as well, but it's more secure. So it depends on what you're using over this VPN. All right, and how you set it up. I'm going to set it up for streamlining it and for fast access, but still with good security. All right, so to use a IKE version 1 transform set, all right, I'm going to go back into I'm going to go and create a crypto IPsec IKV1 transform set. Crypto IPsec IKV1 transform set. And then the name, this is arbitrary. I'm just going to say remote VPN. And then the encryption method and authentication. So the encryption method is any one of these transform sets. Now, who can tell me which one's the strongest? Who paid attention in crypto class?
AES 256.
What?
AES 256.
AES 256. Okie dokie. With ESP, right?
Yeah, AES.
That is correct. Okay. Now, I can also set a secondary one if I wanted to. Which one of those is? So if I don't have users that can match that ESP AES 256, it'll go to this one next. So which one of there is stronger? MD5 or SHA? SHA. You guys remember? ESP, SHA, HMAC. Okay? And that's basically, based on the license that we can use to in the transform set. You have a more enterprise license, you can actually set your transform set up for all of those parameters. Okay? This is basically like I said before, you look on Amazon or Newegg or CDW, some firewalls are $500 for your base model, some are $1,500. This is why. All right. Transform set's done. Now we have to do our, that's for the IKV2 proposal, which we're not doing. Now we have to set our tunnel group. Okay. So this is basically our connection profile. Tunnel group, we name it. Remote VPN, and again that's arbitrary. Type is IPsec RA. Ooh. Maybe it's not. Oh, remote dash access. Remote dash access. So that's a little bit different. Okay. When we hit enter there, We now need to set up our general attributes. Same tunnel group. That changes, and from here, we can set up a default group policy. That default group policy will then point at different parameters for users of this remote access group. Okay? Again, it's going to ask for another name. Here's your best practice. You name your tunnel group, you name your group policy, you name your crypto group the same name. That way, when you're going through and you're troubleshooting anything, you're always looking at the same variable. Does that make sense to everybody? Don't call one Cartman and one Kyle and one Kenny. Oh my God, they killed Kenny. Anyway. Hey, I need to drive that home. That's very important. It really, really, really is. Because that's going to save you a lot of headaches later on down the road if you're ever having to troubleshoot one of these things. All right, so my policy name here is going to be remote VPN. Okay, why are you screwing up on me here? Group. VPN. Type. Remote access. Okay. Tunnel group. Remote VPN. Second attributes. Okay. Going down here on step 4. Let's at least get this done. Alright, and from here, we want to configure Ike version 1. Because we're using Ike version 1. Pre-shared key, and whether that pre-shared key is. Now, I don't think I actually mentioned in here what you should make your pre-shared key. Let's just go with Cisco, lowercase. Don't ever do that. This is for instructional purposes only. So that's where I make my symmetric pre-shared key that's going to work with everything. Everybody understand that? So what I did here, all right, is once you create the tunnel group and type, the general attributes, I guess, come up automatically. You don't have to worry about the address pool because you already have DHCP running. The IPsec attributes, we're creating the pre-shared key. All right? That's that. Now we have to make a crypto map to tie the transform set in. All right? So, crypto dynamic map. not dynamic map, but just map, older version. Crypto map, remote VPN, again, keep everything the same. Give it a sequence number of 1 like you did before. And then we're going to set our transform set, our Ike V1 transform set to, what do we name our transform set? Remote VPN, right? Why do we name it remote VPN? Because we're naming everything remote VPN. So you don't get to this point and go, God, what's that called a transform set? Keep all the variable names the same. There you go. Okay, so we're using the Ike V1 there in step 1. Okay. I don't think we have to do this because that's done with crypto map. N1 set. Now we don't have to do that. Not for IQ1. Okay, and then we have to set the interface that it's going to apply to, which is the outside interface. That's what I'm missing. Crypto, map, remote, VPN, interface, outside. Here it is, and your ISAChem comes up. Okay, that's it. Make sure you write it to memory. Let's go over this real quick. All right. Hopefully I got everything right here. This is a very, very, very basic remote access VPN. Alright, so we just have a couple of different things here at the very end of the configuration. We first worked on our tunnel group, remote VPN. It's a remote access, and we set a pre-shared key for to be Cisco. We set our Ike version 1 policy for pre-shared. Alright, we created a crypto map for Ike v1 and set the transform set to remote VPN. Alright, it's applied to interface outside, and our Ike VPN transform set, which is our crypto, will default to ESP AES 256, and if that fails, it will try to apply ESP SHA HMAC. Okay? Now you don't have to do this step because Packet Tracer won't let you do VPNs. But if you had an AnyConnect client or a Cisco Thick client, you could set up a VPN there. You would name your group on the client. What do you think you're going to name the group?
Remote VPN.
Remote. Bravo! Bravo! And what do you think your password is going to be for the VPN?
Cisco.
What? So, no, not remote VPN. This is the tricky one. This is the curveball.
Cisco.
Cisco. Why? It's the pre-shared key, right? There you go. And then it will take over authentication after that to the user, which in this case would be administrator. All right. A lot of moving parts in VPNs. This is just your first baby steps. All right, in working with them. All right. I highly advise you to work with VPNs regardless of manufacturer as much as you can. there's a lot of money to be made because security engineers need to know this stuff backwards, forwards, sideways, and diagonally. Okay? And the really good ones do, and the really good ones make a lot of money in security. Alright, if you guys don't have any questions, alright, I will see you on Monday.
Wednesday.
God, you got me.
Yeah.
I will see you on Wednesday, a week from tonight. We'll go over chapter 10. We'll go over review for the final. Okay?
When is this lab review?
Not the final.
Not at the final?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just email it to me. Email me the packet tracer. Everybody got that? No later than the night of the final. I'm gonna hate everybody because guess what? Everyone's gonna email it to me the night of the final. That's all right. I wasn't doing anything over summer break anyway.
11:59?
Yeah.